I do want to ask you about a match that people love, and it was at Extreme Rules 2014. It was the WLC match.
Yeah. One of my favorite matches, and I wasn't even in, it wasn't even my match, but it was one of my favorite matches to be a part of. So we get Hornswoggle. We're in a blood feud with El Torito and Los Matadores. We're on every live event with those guys. We're having so much fun, and we're building to a match, Hornswoggle versus El Torito. We know it's going to be a WLC match, but at that time we had no idea what that meant. We didn't know that there was going to be a micro coal and mini ladders and mini chairs. We had no idea. We found out possibly the day of that. It was on the pre-show instead of the pay-per-view. So that motivated us. All right, we got to do something special tonight. They want to put us on the pre-show. Watch what we do. And credit to Hornswoggle. He came to play that day too. Hornswoggle was on, El Torito was on, all of us were on. So we have a rehearsal really early in the morning. Call time is at 12. I guess it's not that early, but when you're in 3MB and you partied the night before, it felt early. Maybe noon. So we report to the arena super early. And Fit Finley is our agent. And that's when we see all the miniature gimmicks, the chairs and tables, and we see our whole crew of little people, our referee, and all of this. And we start putting the match together, and at this time, we're all super motivated. We're going to take big bumps, and that's when we laid it out. Fit was great. He had so many great ideas. And actually, when we came back from that match, we got a standing ovation. 3MB maybe never got standing ovations when we came back. We never did really anything meaningful or had time to do anything. We were just given very short segments. Actually, so most of our segments, there's something called a collapsible segment. So you have crossovers at the top of every hour. Raw kicks off, say, at 8. So at 9 o'clock, they're going to put on a big segment because people are flipping through channels. Maybe 5 minutes prior to that, when the shows end, shows go on commercials. So the idea is that while people are flipping through commercials, they'll see a big segment on. It'll be main event guys. But the segment before that is segment 5, or if the next crossover is segment 12. Segment 11 is collapsible, meaning if something runs heavy on that show, segment 5 might be given 6 or 7 minutes, but by the time we're going on live, match 1 goes a minute or 2 heavy, match 3 goes heavy, there's a promo that goes heavy. By the time you get to segment 5, you might even be looking at guys in and out. No, you had an entrance, it's now cut, we're going to establish you guys in the ring, you're just be air guitaring, we'll throw up the logo 3MB, and you guys are off to the races. And sometimes a lot of times it was a race. No matter what, that crossover has to hit. So a lot of times we were just in and out. But that match, we were given a decent amount of time. It was on the kickoff show. On pay-per-view, you generally don't get cut time, especially not the pre-show. So we come back, standing ovation. It was a great moment, and I'm really glad Hornswoggle was able to have that moment. And I've heard him say in many interviews, that was his top achievement in probably his whole career. That's his defining moment. That was Hornswoggle and El Torito's match, and those guys killed it, absolutely killed it. All of us took big bumps we wanted to. Drew took a crazy bump. He took a bump on some miniature tables. I think I got set up on the outside, and we did a big pile on some tables or tables and ladders.
And then, so that happens, you get the big standing ovation for that match, and then a month later, you get released from WWE.
Yeah.
Do you see it coming? What's the call? How are you? I was going to say, how are you feeling? Obviously not great.
Yeah, so no, I didn't see it coming. At that time, I mentioned earlier, I was on WWE live events my entire career, in WWE. So again, I have a packed calendar 3 months ahead of time. We get our calendar 3 months ahead of time. Just a rough draft. Things change, you get added, people get hurt, etc. Sometimes you get taken off. I got a full packed calendar. All of 3MB's on a packed calendar. We're on every show. And I got a call in the morning. I can't remember what day it was. I got a call in the morning. It wasn't morning. Maybe it was noon, but to me it was morning. It was actually Mark Carano. And I thought he's calling to tell me, like, actually, we're going on live events the next day. It might have been a Thursday. I think it's a Friday. We're flying out first thing in the morning for live events, and it's Mark Carano. And I'm expecting a call saying, hey, you guys aren't on the live events, or you're on the other loop, because there's two sets of live events, red loop and blue loop, SmackDown and Raw. But when they were combined, there was no separate rosters. You would go on red loop or blue loop. Red loop starts on Friday. Blue loop starts on a Saturday. So I thought, okay, he's calling me to tell me, hey, you're now on the blue loop or you're not needed for live events. And he's like, hey, I got some bad news for you. Creative doesn't have anything for you right now. We have to release you. And yeah, that's a tough call. Like, your like stomach sinks. It's a very tough call. And at that point in my career, I hadn't done much. Like 3MB was the best thing I had done, which it felt like we had done nothing. So yeah, that was the phone call I got, and yeah, and then I was on my own for 2 years.
And when you were off for 2 years, did you have a strategy of like, I want to get back there? Was there like something that what was your strategy going into the Indies?
I had no strategy. I did nothing productive with like 90% of that time for the 2 years. So when you leave WWE, right away you have a whole bunch of bookings because you're fresh off WWE television. So at first I set up my email address, book jmahal@gmail.com. I sounded a tweet, taking independent bookings now. Like day one I get like so many emails. I'm like, wow, I'm gonna kill this. And like a majority of them are just a waste of time. But anyway, you do get a lot of bookings, and then you gotta figure out a way to stay relevant, reinvent yourself, use social media, do something. To stay relevant, to stay booked. So right out the gate, I had a lot of bookings, and I was still living that three-man band lifestyle of just partying, not training, not taking life seriously. And then like a year later now, I'm living in Texas at that time next to the Great Khali. It's during that era. My bookings are dwindling. I'm not doing anything. I'm not using social media. I did nothing in WWE. I'm kind of basically, I'm being forgotten about, which deservedly so. I'm not doing anything to better myself in that position. I'm just kind of playing victim. At that time, I'd gotten like really out of shape, just like drinking the majority of the week, just doing nothing. Wrestling around on the Texas independent scene, because Texas had so many indies, and they were not good. So I would do like these shows, essentially. That's the best thing I can say about them. Like, I don't want to post about them on social media or nothing because they're that bad. And then I don't know what happened. Just one day, I'll tell you what it was. I was already looking at doing other things. I'm like, this wrestling thing is run its course. I got to do something else. Like, I'm looking at businesses. I remember there was a Subway franchise for sale. I was like doing some research, and I had like met with Subway corporate. I was gonna start a Subway franchise. I was gonna have a Subway franchise and just be a businessman. And then I don't know. Like one day, I'm like, you know what? I'm still like 28 years old. All I've ever wanted to do my whole life was wrestle. I have so many regrets about my first run. Like, why didn't I take it seriously? I was given this golden opportunity to really change my life. And I just kind of just pissed it away. I just partied. I didn't take it seriously. I had no initiative. I didn't do anything with that time productive. And if I did, I would still be there. So I just quit drinking one day. I didn't even quit drinking. I'm just like, you know what? I'm just not going to drink. I'm going to get back into training. Because I've been a huge fan of training and bodybuilding and wrestling. Like, I grew up watching like Hogan and Ultimate Warrior and all this. I've been really into bodybuilding my entire life, and I still am. So I'm like, I'm going to start training again, and I'm going to take a pause from drinking. So I took the pause from drinking. I'm training. I hired like a coach, and I hired like a meal prep company to do all my meals for me. And like, I'm changing my body. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling motivated. And after a month of doing this, and actually at that time I had started real estate. I had started rehabbing homes. I would buy homes and I would rehab them and keep them as rental properties. So I was kind of like getting into real estate a little bit. And now getting into shape. Like, I was in a really good mental space. I'm productive. I'm feeling good. I'm getting slowly into shape. I was in such terrible shape to begin with. I was making like a big difference. And 1 month, literally 1 month after that, I got a call from the same gentleman, Mark Carano, who had given me my release, saying, hey, the brand split is happening. Raw and SmackDown are again going to have separate rosters, and we want to bring you back. And a week before that phone call, I got a call from Big, who was running TNA at the time, John Gaburik, Big John. He called me, he said, hey, TNA's interested in you. We want to maybe team you up with Mahabali Shera. And come to our television taping. It was in about 2 or 3 weeks in Orlando. I lived in Tampa at that time. He said, drive down and let's talk in person. A week later, Mark Carano calls me, hey, Raw, SmackDown, separate brands, separate rosters. We want you to come back. And I'm like, awesome. Small thing. Next week, I'm already going to go to TNA to talk to them. I'm just going to hear what they have to say. And Carano had given me his offer, 3-year contract, X amount of money. And it was like a contract just for basically just like a preliminary wrestler. I wasn't brought back to be a main eventer, which I believe is, some people think that WWE is expanding to India. Jinder Mahal got brought back to be champion. That wasn't the case, guys. I promise you. Because if you see me when I came back, I wasn't in great shape either. When me and Heath came back, and Mick Foley, Heath is trying to find a job. He has kids, and Mick Foley makes an announcement. Okay, the match starts now, and whoever wins gets a contract. And I think I big booted Heath, and I pinned him 1, 2, 3, and I got the contract. That was my first week back on TV, and then again I did nothing for several months. I was on main event at that time, the show main event, not the main event. I got brought back to be on main event. So people are right. Yeah, Jinder Mahal was brought back to be the main event, the show. So again, during this time, this several months, maybe 6 months of me on main event, I'm super motivated. I'm super hungry. I'm dieting like a maniac. I'm bringing my meals with me on the road. That's when the transition happened. Like the crazy. You guys probably have seen the pictures of like before and after. That's when that transformation happened, during that like period of time when I wasn't doing anything, but I was under contract. And Vince would see me. So during main event, Vince doesn't sit in Gorilla. He sits in his office, and he usually is eating like a big steak, getting ready to march down the hallway and come into Gorilla and watch the show, have the headset on. So and sometimes while eating the steak, if he's not busy in a meeting, he's watching a match. So every once in a while, I would do a match on main event, and I'd be walking back to the locker room, and he'd be making the march to Gorilla, and he'd see me in the hallway, and he'd give me a compliment about the match or my physique. And Vince, he loves bodybuilding. So he saw the transformation, and what the transformation meant to Vince was, this guy's hungry, this guy's motivated. This guy was released, he came back, and he's really using this time to further himself, get better. And I was on a mission to get better every week. Better matches, better promos. I was doing a lot of work on myself, like mentally, physically, wrestling-wise, business-wise, everything. I was super, super motivated, again, because I had got released, and at that time, I had so many regrets. Why did I not take advantage of this opportunity? But I knew, I had told myself, if I ever get a second chance, like, I'm burning it down. Like, there'll be no stone left unturned. That's exactly what happened. So, got fired up, got crazy shape, and then I got thrown a bone. I got paired up with Rusev to feud with Enzo and Cass. Woo woo!
One Rusev fan in the back.
So to feud with Enzo and Cass, I was with Rusev, and that was like my first kind of big storyline. I remember at that time, I had my very first solo pay-per-view match against Cesaro. Rusev had a match against Big Show on the same pay-per-view. I believe it was Payback, 2016 or 17, maybe 16. Rusev with Big Show and myself and Cesaro, my first ever pay-per-view match, and it was just, everything was clicking, and I was getting better every week. Yeah, that's where we were.